the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 212 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, I just ate dinner before the podcast. A little drowsy.
Was it a full turkey dinner?
No, it wasn't a full turkey dinner, but it was a filling dinner. It was
Yes.
one of our family recipes, and it was
Nice.
good.
Very good. Very good.
So I'm a little tired. Thank goodness I didn't eat this dinner before the race on Sunday.
Well, I was going to say, this is going to be, I was putting the notes together today, and I thought to myself as I'm putting them together, this is going to be an epic feat of gasbaggery that we're about to attempt here, because we're going to see how far this one goes. I don't know what to talk about.
Yeah, I told my wife before we closed ourselves into this, before I closed myself into the studio tonight, and I said it's probably gonna be a short podcast. I said, because the race was boring as hell and there's nothing in the news. And I said, but that probably means that James and I are going to stretch it out and talk about a bunch of crap that has nothing to do with the race,
man.
And it'll be an hour long anyway.
Eric, imagine you're a first-time listener of the podcast, and this is how we open.
Yeah, right?
We're sorry. Please
Yeah.
give us a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, imagine you're a first-time NASCAR fan last week and you watched the Bristol race. This was, I think Door Bumper Clear mentioned this today. And then you tuned in this week thinking, wow, I'll continue to watch that good stuff there. And you got this
That was the
dumpster fire of a race.
The Jeff Gluckization of NASCAR races, are they good or bad?
Yeah.
I don't like it for the most part. But this one was just like, Eric, I'm not gonna lie, I had it on my phone and I was watching, like, as I was watching something else, I was kind of two screening it. And I'm like, I'll focus in the third stage and, kind of see what's going on. I've got a good feel for what's going on. And I kept checking in. And then the third stage came and I was like, well, other than Hendrick, I don't know what else to do here. And I'm just like, I'll just keep watching. And sure enough, it was, it was, at least Chase Elliott made it somewhat interesting towards the end.
Yeah, he definitely made it interesting. According to Hamlin spotter, what the heck's his name? Chris Lambert, he was on Door Bumper Clear this week and said that Denny had a tire going down too at the end.
Yeah, I noticed. I thought that was from his burnout, but now that you mentioned it, that left front was very low.
Yep.
So maybe a lap or two more and he would have been in big trouble.
Yep. And also they were not particularly pleased with Bubba holding Denny up at the end as well. Bubba was doing some side draft and trying to stay on the lead lap, and might have helped Chase out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta know. That's how I handle the podcast. I usually try to stay out of your way. Let the boss eat.
Yeah, that was because Chris Lambert co-hosted the show this week, and that was his what an idiot was Bubba.
Oh jeez.
Considering he had Bubba Spotter in the studio with him, it was pretty funny.
I'm sure Denny had words.
I'm
with
sure.
him.
I'm sure. Yeah, there's
take
probably
care
discussion.
Of me, man.
Yeah.
Take care of the man that takes care of you here.
Well, especially when Bubba's going to be hoping for a push from that 11 car this weekend at Talladega, because Denny don't need to win.
No, he's just out there for playoff points.
Yep.
That's the biggest relief. That's the best gift of having Talladega kind of smack dab in the middle.
Dude, if you're going to do the playoffs, why not, don't win all season long, but win the first race of each round of the playoffs?
Well,
just make the playoffs easy.
Yeah, he's that car, other than we'll probably talk about Hendrick here in a minute, but that car was really dialed in and just was, it looked like he was on cruise control there, just logging. He really, in stage 3, he really was just logging laps that whole stage. And it was very reminiscent of Darlington. And I just wonder if that team spent all that extra time. They're probably not building a whole bunch of brand new cars at this point. So whatever they're bringing to these tracks, Eric, I didn't expect Joe Gibbs Racing to have a good showing at a 550 compared to Hendrick, and they had 3 of the top 4 cars.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. We already kind of did. South Point 400, Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend. James has probably the best description of this race ever in the notes, so I'm just going to read it word for word. There was a race. Hamlin won. It was long. And there we go. But yeah, James, there's been a lot of talk this week. Hamlin, I don't know that he was criticized all season, but everybody kept wondering when he was going to win. But Hamlin's despite not winning through the regular season and winning as many races as he did last year, Hamlin's actually put together a better season this year than he did last year.
The playoffs is specifically, he's led a bunch of laps. He's got what,
he almost won the regular season championship without winning a race.
Yeah, he's been solid all year long.
And Larson clicked off 5,
Yeah. So. And too, Eric, we talked about Kyle Larson's laps led last year, and he eclipsed 2,000 on Sunday, which is an amazing feat with 6 races to go.
Right.
But Denny Hamlin's got 1,366 laps led, and nobody else is close to those two guys. It's them two. I guess Larson's on his own island, but if you wanted to separate them, just to show you, I mean, he's been up front a whole heck of a lot. You don't lead 1,300 laps at this point in the season, and luck your way into good finishes. He's been up there, and he's been getting stronger as the playoffs go along. And Eric, I was going to say, I wanted to ask you this question. Were it not for the name Denny Hamlin, I would think that this is probably my championship favorite at this point, but he's got a history, so I have a hard time.
Here's my feeling of it. I still think, Larson's got to be the favorite. Look at what Larson's done this year. And you have to look beyond NASCAR as well. We've documented everything he's done outside of NASCAR. On paper, Kyle Larson is your champion. He even battled back to steal the regular season championship from Denny. The problem is that, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, is with this format, the guy who's favorited to win generally doesn't. It all comes down to that last race, and you have to have a great race that last race. And a lot of times, we've seen close championships before the system where people choke. This system's set up perfectly to choke.
Yeah.
And when you're somebody like Denny Hamlin, maybe Denny's putting himself too much in a favorite seat right now, but I think Denny's still the underdog at this point. And that's the perfect place to be when people aren't thinking about you, aren't worried about you. And everybody's focused on Larson, trying to beat Larson, and they're going to forget that Denny's there. I think, I almost pick Denny as more of a favorite to win this thing than Larson, even though Larson truly, to me, is the favorite.
Well, yeah, and if he's the Gibbs car that, depending on how many other Gibbs cars get to Phoenix, he's going to be right there. That they're going to have good stuff at the 750 horsepower tracks, and they do. So, he's led a ton of laps. He won a 750 race at Darlington. He was really good in the first round, and now he can put his feet up and relax because we got 2 crazy races coming up here, Talladega and the Roval. That team can really, if they want to, just kind of look ahead to the next round and get this car massaged and ready to get back out there.
Yeah. It's going to be, I love the system. I love the system. How great is it? And the thing is at this point, either of them could still miss it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It could happen.
It's interesting. So
yeah, it's a tighter gap than it was. It was a tight points gap throughout the season, but Larson definitely had a major advantage on points going forward. And within 4 races, Denny has picked up more bonus points that he gets to carry on to the third round. And he has a chance going to Talladega to just all he's out there to do right now is just continue to bank points and solidify himself for getting to Phoenix. And you can't ask for more than that at this stage in the season, to have momentum in your favor. You're getting stronger. We were talking a lot about Ryan Blaney towards the end of the year. I feel like Denny Hamlin swung that back into his favor. Now We're talking more about him. But it just depends, but legit championship contender. He always was, but now when you put on a dominating performance like this, you really kind of set the bar a little bit higher for everybody else.
Yeah. And then, we're going to go back to places like, Martin Truex Jr. is good at the Roval. We got tracks in the final round that people are good at. Again, Truex is a good example. Chase Elliott. This thing's so up in the air still.
Martinsville is a good place for Hamlin too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we just saw him win at a 550, and we've got Kansas and Texas coming up there in that third round.
Don't remind me, we still got to race Texas.
Jeez,
I thought Vegas could be the worst, but nope,
I tell you,
Texas.
The first 2 rounds of the playoffs have such a great diverse amount of racetracks.
Yeah,
and then you've got the third round. You're just kind of waiting to get to Martinsville,
right?
But Kansas can be good.
So
we'll see.
So I slept through it, James. What happened to Hendrick in this one?
Oh God. Yeah, Hendrick ruined. We'll talk about this later too, but Hendrick ruined my fantasy day, my picks day, just by stupid strategy. What were they doing?
I don't know.
They chose at the near the end of stage 2. They decided not to pit early with the rest of the field, and I don't know if Larson's just good in clean air with that thing or what, but he could not move through the field. Elliott did move through the field, and then Byron and Bowman just botched their pit stops and had a all sorts of mess going on there. And I feel so bad for William Byron. He was in such a good spot early in this race. And now he's doing the same thing he was doing in the last round. He's just battling back.
Well, both him and Bowman, they're outside looking in again.
Outside looking in, and they're going to be battling back. Moving forward, I don't know what they were thinking. I just feel like it was an easy call to make, and I'm definitely not the one getting paid to be a crew chief. That's for sure.
Right. I mean, not much else really happened in this race. We could talk about Joey Gase trying to get some air miles.
Huge crash.
Have we determined whether it broke or it was a loose wheel?
It broke. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
at
least it wasn't something the crew did.
Well, I saw the accident, and then I saw later in the night that they said he was going to the hospital, and I thought, well, that was kind of a standard. You blow a tire or you lose a wheel or you back it into the fence, and we don't think about with safer barriers and things like that these cars actually take these huge hits anymore. And that's another one of those reminders. We get one every 15 races or so, Eric.
Right.
Where we get a reminder, and that car jumped over the safer barrier, down onto the track.
You have a couple and this is me being nerdy and going to look at it more closely than necessary, but you have a couple of factors that happen here. First of all, you got the wheel well, which is empty, which allows the back of the car to kind of launch into the air. Then the other thing to keep in mind, and I don't know how they did it at Vegas, but they reconfigured this track. And when they reconfigured this track, I don't believe they put new walls in. I believe the walls are the same walls that were there before. So they added banking to Vegas, but the walls are still designed for the old banking. So in theory, they're not perpendicular to the track. There's a little bit of a slant there, which can allow them to get airborne or get up on the wall. Yeah. And there were questions this week about whether Atlanta's going to be the same way because they're doing the same thing in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know these guys are smart, and I would imagine they probably factor that into those safer barriers when they put them in and all that. But, something to think about. And, I mean, stuff like this happens. Sometimes the car gets airborne. And
that's a scary corner, and that's where we lost Dan Walden, in that same vicinity. Yeah. And it's just and the way the car came back down onto the track once it jumped the barrier, at that front end, the back end hit, and that front end came slamming down. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, that's where you can get, like a fracture in your back, things like that.
That's where Eric Almirola hurt his back, was like
exactly at Kansas. Yeah. Yep. With the car bouncing like that, and there's not, these cars aren't made, they're not super trucks. They don't have a whole lot of give.
They've got less suspension now than they used to.
Exactly. So that you're basically coming down on like a rock. So
yeah, that was a pretty vicious wreck. It was really the only real action we saw in this whole thing, other than Eric Jones getting some damage, or not Eric Jones.
Harvick
Christopher Bell got some damage. Harvick got some damage as well.
And Kurt Busch had a little fender damage too. And then when you're looking at just fenders being a little bit messy, then you know.
Right. Denny Hamlin leads 137 laps. The only driver that hit double digits was Kyle Larson with 95. Other than that, it's all single digits for everybody.
Yep. Playoff drivers scrambled all over inside the top 11. And then, like we said, Byron and Bowman and Bell just kind of had bad days, and that sets them up in nobody's out of it. Bell's 12th, and he's 21 behind Byron.
Yeah. You don't want to be 25 points out though going into Talladega.
I do like what Dale Jr. said. Dale Jr. said, if I'm going to Talladega, I want to be all the way
That's
in
true.
I want to be completely out of it.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Either good to go or out of it, because otherwise you got to play the stupid points game, and nobody wants to do that.
Nobody wants to do that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Talladega is going to be very interesting because we've got some really good Talladega racers in the mix here. And then one of them's got his win banked. So I don't know what he's going to do.
Well, you know what he's going to do. Denny's going to go for it, man.
Oh yeah. You got to go get the points. If you're Denny Hamlin, take the points away from
he has nothing to lose.
Nope.
But to race for it. And I don't see Denny's ridden in the back before, so maybe he'll ride in the back at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he could play
But,
survival mode and then just try to get the 5 points at the end. That's not a bad way to do it. Other guys though, like Brad Keselowski sitting right there in eighth, on the cut line.
yep.
He's got to get points.
Brad's got to be licking his chops for this one.
Yeah, Joey too. Those guys are good, and Ryan Blaney's really good here. So we got some good stuff coming. We're already looking ahead to Talladega. We can't even.
Well, I mean, I can't justify this race by talking about it anymore. I mean, this was a disaster. I mean, it just was horrible. And I guess, maybe an early jackass corner for me is anybody who voted yes in Jeff Gluck's poll. How did 20 some percent people think that this was a good race? Like, they must have mixed it up with the Xfinity or the truck race, because it wasn't this one.
Decent weekend, bad race.
I'm all for a strategy. Heck, I take back everything I said about Richmond. Can we have Richmond back versus this? I mean,
this was, I know. That's the two stinkers that we've had so far, Richmond and Las Vegas. This was pretty legendarily bad.
Yeah.
But Eric, we've talked about it. 550 at night, those 550 cars at night, they don't slide.
Well, my thing is that this package was built for this track. And when this package sucks at this track, it's time to take it out back and shoot it.
Well, I will say the racing when the sun was still out, I thought was pretty good. The start to stage 2, like Larson and those guys couldn't get away from each other for a bunch of laps.
What was, James, is the restarts.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the restart package, and when you
don't have restarts,
when it's dark like this, they can spread out, and that's what you don't want this package to do. That's what we had it. In Michigan, everybody stayed clumped together. Yep. And you didn't need all the restarts for it to be a fun race to watch, at least.
Yeah.
We didn't get that here when they get spread out. If we could just throw a caution every 10 laps like we did at Indy the one year, we'd be good. So.
Yep. No mystery caution. If anybody ever thinks NASCAR throws a whole bunch of mystery cautions all the time, we'll point back to this one.
Get the fun flag out, wave it with 10 to go, and let's make this thing interesting.
The old SRX fun flag.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Let's move on from this atrocity. A race. Let's look at the other two, though. There were 2 other races in action this weekend, 2 other series, Truck Series and Xfinity. Trucks kicked us off on Friday night.
This was actually a good race.
It was a good race. Actually, both these races were good races. Mm-hmm. Christian Eckes gets his first win in the Truck Series, part-time winner on the Truck Series. 1 through 4 finish for ThorSport, which is awesome. And we got a pretty good pile up and got to see another car airborne in this one, or a truck airborne in this one, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Two big screw ups in this accident, because it was Tyler Ankrum that spun, right?
Yeah.
Ankrum spins, and what's his mess? Yeah, what's his face? I can't think of his name right now. There was Chandler Smith decides, his spotter tells him go low. And Chandler Smith goes, I'm smarter than my spotter. I'm going to go to the high side because they always slide down. Hits him, breaks the front wheel, goes down to the inside of the track, and Mr. Sheldon Creed decides to hit the wrong pedal going through the wreck and drives right into the back of the freaking 18 car and just launched him, man.
So our 2 picks in this race from last week finished 35th and 36th.
Holy crap. Was that a hit, though, man? Thank goodness.
Yeah, it was.
Thank goodness that he hit him in the rear. Chris Lambert was spotting for Chandler Smith in this one and said he got a chance to look at the truck afterwards, and it was the worst looking damage he's ever seen in a car that he's got a chance to look at. He said, if he got hit in the door, this could have been really, really bad.
Yeah. What a mess. Jeez.
Yeah. And Sheldon is on my list for Jackass Corner, but the thing that these guys do is when there's a wreck, when they think they've got it cleared, they throttle up to get past it so they don't get taken out. And he just didn't know that Chandler was down there and drove in the back of him. So.
It happens. Yeah. And a lot of playoff guys got messed up in this one. And that, that's just, you chalk it up to racing. You're going to have some accidents like this every once in a while. And unfortunately, bad day for a lot of the contenders. Chandler Smith, we talked about him last week. That was a huge win at Bristol.
Yep.
Wanted to have something going forward here, and this accident took him out. Sheldon Creed, he's below the cut line now, and John Hunter Nemechek was just done. Yeah, he was battling issues all night, and somehow kept the truck running. But
except when he needed a caution, then it stalled out.
Yeah.
So there was some talk about that this week.
He got to the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny because NASCAR has tried so hard to make all these mile-and-a-half tracks, Daytona and Talladega, for the Cup Series. They haven't touched these two series, and these ones are having the wrecks like Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not another one worth mentioning is we had a tire issue with Carson Hocevar, who decided to do his best Dale Earnhardt Jr. impression,
Yeah.
which wasn't very good, and try to bring the caution out intentionally. And thank you, NASCAR, for finally penalizing somebody for this. I love Carson Hocevar, but he needed to be parked for this one for a lap, and he got it.
Yep. You can't spin on purpose.
It was
It's just,
so blatant.
yeah. It's just, it's, I understand. Like, hey, man, I've played the NASCAR video games. I've made a caution when I needed one. But this is real life. You just can't do it that way. It's not safe to be spinning in front of people when you're not. I mean, it's not safe either way.
Yeah.
But you can't be spinning.
I think I saw Stevie Wonder tweet after this race that looked intentional. So
that's right. Yeah. the old itchy arm, calling the itchy arm play. That's what that is.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah.
The truck race?
Shout out to Christian Eckes.
Yeah.
I mean, he drove some really fast trucks for KBM for a couple of years there, ran full time last year, was a playoff driver for them last year, and unfortunately had to go part time. And Eric, with what you're given, sometimes you got to make the best of it. And kudos to him. He's had a decent year with that part time ride, and you can't ask for more than getting a couple of wins. And he's got one in the pocket now, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's got to help him going forward.
Exactly. Yeah, he can drive. I mean, Kyle Busch saw some talent to get him into one of his trucks, and he got a bunch of poles for Kyle. Never got the win for KBM, but to see him go out there for Mike Curb and I mean, awesome finish for the whole team. They 1 through 4 at the top, pretty cool. So great day for ThorSport and just overall awesome race. Ben Rhodes, who I feel like every time I pick him in our picks, he finishes dead last. Got a good day out of it as well. So yeah, when you have guys having trouble, that's what you want from your other playoff drivers is to have really solid days. Crafton, Sauter, all those guys were right up there. Hanging in there.
Todd Gilliland continues to be relevant despite the fact he didn't make the playoffs. Top 5 finish for him. He finishes 5th. Stuart Friesen, again, a decent run for him, finishes 6th. I mean, Stewart's a threat right now up there. He's
lurking
running up front. So
yep, he's lurking. He's let me see. Yeah, he's 3rd in points right now. I said Johnny Sauter. I didn't try to misspeak there, but I did. He's not a playoff driver.
Right.
But yeah, Ben Rhodes is the points leader. John Hunter 6 behind. So John Hunter basically had his buffer taken away with this one. So he's gonna want to get one back, I think.
Yeah.
Moving forward as we had to Talladega.
Haley Deegan, a lot of talk about her this week. She had a tweet after the race, kind of bummed out a little bit after she's had some trouble the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, she wrecked big time at Bristol too.
Yeah.
Bristol wasn't even her fault.
Well, this one wasn't her fault either. She was in the Ankrum accident as well. Finishes 31st. I've seen there's been a lot of talk. I know like Jamie Little was talking to her and Claire B. Lang was talking to her, and there's been a lot of talk with her about a lot of people, and I don't want to bag on Haley because I like Haley and I think Haley's got some talent. I think she's got a place in this sport if she can keep going. But a lot of people making excuses for her, saying, she doesn't have any practice this year and blah, blah, blah. But then you go over to the old Xfinity series, which is tougher than this. And you see someone like Ty Gibbs going out there with no practice and racking up the wins and running, 12th in points or wherever he's at, only running part of the season. So
yeah, and Ty Gibbs is basically her replacement in Toyota equipment.
Yeah.
People got to remember that Toyota had a big investment in Haley and didn't see it bearing fruit for him and went another direction.
Yeah.
So Ford's picked her up, and
I believe Ford's going to stick with her for a while, though.
Yeah, I think another season in the trucks. If she sticks around in the trucks another year, we'll see some top 10s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that's natural progression.
That's to say, I don't want to get down on her too much. It's not like she's running a KBM truck right now or a Joe Gibbs Racing car in the Xfinity series. The DGR trucks aren't awful, but they're not the level of KBM or ThorSport or whatever either. So
yeah, they're not bringing the speed.
Yeah. So she's doing a good job. She needs to keep her head down and keep doing what she's doing. She's a good personality for the sport. I hope she doesn't get too down on herself. Again, these past couple weeks haven't been her deal,
She's 19 years old.
Yep.
I just don't give up on her yet. I don't know what her future is yet, but neither does she. So
Yep.
she'll get there.
She's good for the sport, so hopefully she sticks around for a while.
Yep, exactly.
Anything else with trucks, James? Did I miss anything
That's
here?
it, man. We spent more time on the trucks than normal.
Well,
so
that's
good
because the other race sucked. The Allsco Uniforms 302 was on Saturday night with the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Josh Berry, man.
Dude, Josh Berry. That was awesome.
Yeah. The guy who's not even supposed to be racing right now.
No, he's just sub. He's a sub, super sub. So another part-time guy. So the two part-time guys got the Friday and Saturday wins out of the way.
Right. And
what a season.
This was also, you don't have it in the notes, but it was I believe it was 1-2-3 finish for Junior Motorsports, which is the first time in history for him.
Yep. So. They had the top three, and then I'm not sure where. What's his face got caught up in Sam Mayer got caught up in a crash too. So but they could have had a pretty good day with all of them. But top three. Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson. Great day for JR Motorsports and Josh Berry. Second win of the season, two different cars.
Well, and he earned the sucker too. I mean, he was.
Oh yeah, he did.
He was out front, pitted. Justin Allgaier gets by him, and he raced him back by and passed him and got the win. So
supposed to be a short track expert, but I tell you what, when he runs like this, it just kind of shows Dale Jr.'s eye for talent, and you don't win at Vegas, without. You're not just a short track guy, you're more than that. And, I know Jordan Anderson, he's got a few seats and with him this year too. So he's mixing and matching between three different cars, and to get 2 wins this year on a part-time schedule, he's, I tell you what, championship threat for next year.
Yeah. For
sure. He's going to be in the hunt. He's going to have some of the best equipment out there. He's not going anywhere.
I mean,
gotta love it.
You could argue this is the first meaningful win for him because, I mean, if he's going to win in the series, Martinsville's the place he's going to win, right? I mean, that's his track. He's got so much experience there. Not to put any light on the fact that he won there. It's still a major accomplishment as a part-time driver and whatnot, and obviously led to what he's got the chance to do next year. But this is out of his element, and he gets the win here. And like I said, earned it. It wasn't just he didn't strategy his way into it. He outright outdueled his teammate and got the win.
Yeah.
So
There
was another point I was going to make with him, but I can't remember what it was.
His age 30 season, and he'll be a 31-year-old rookie.
Yeah,
starting next season. I love it, man. You don't get. I don't know. It feels like he's coming from our era a little bit. This is old school, which makes me want to root for this guy.
Yeah, I mean he's not coming with the money. He's coming with the experience and coming with the skill, and that's I love it. We say we want to see it, so we better see a lot of fans get behind this guy. Yeah, this is what you want. If this is what you want. Get behind this guy, and the sponsors will see that, and they'll start looking for guys like this.
We don't get many like this anymore. Brad Keselowski is probably the last one that made it to the tippy top, who had and even him came from some sort of lineage with his dad in the truck series, but they came up the hard way. Josh Berry's coming up the hard way a little bit, but got tied in with JR Motorsports, and heck, man, he's doing a heck of a job. That's for sure.
Who's better at finding talent, Dale Jr. or Kyle Busch? They got to be pretty close, right?
I mean, Dale Jr.'s got Keselowski and Truex. That's a tough one too. Kyle's younger though, so he's bringing talent through. Because Kyle technically gets the William Byron nod from me too. So yeah, Kyle. Well. Man,
it's a tough one. You'd have to actually sit down and look at the stats, wouldn't you?
I know, yeah. I guess anything Brad found, I'll put under the Dale Jr. tree too. So that gives me Ryan Blaney.
There you go.
Chase Briscoe. So, yeah, but Kyle and Dale Jr. That's one of the best things that those guys do is they do give back and give opportunities to guys who may not have them or who are looking to break through, and that's just awesome when. You see somebody, Josh Berry, kind of carrying the banner right now to break through. It's really, really cool.
Right. Yeah, I agree. We had a nice big pile up in this one as well. Riley Herbst gets turned and takes out a bunch of them, piled them all into the turn, and took out some good running cars in that one.
Yeah, three championship contenders. Riley, you mentioned Jeb and Jeremy Clemens, and that sucks for Jeremy Clemens because. That's that's an underfunded team that's in the playoff, And that just sucks that he's started the playoffs. He's 92 in the hole,
Right.
that just stinks. But yeah. I mean, all those guys are way below the cut line now. Um, Jeremy Clemens, I win Talladega. I don't see any other way out of it.
Yeah, that's about his only opportunity, and
Yeah,
probably not going to happen. But hey, if there's a place to do it, Talladega's the place.
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Josh Berry's made 28 Xfinity Series starts. It
Yeah,
doesn't seem like it's been that many, but
no, but this year he's got 20 this year. So
yeah, that's true. 2 out of 28 is not bad though.
No, this is his first year racing since 2017, so he had a shot at a younger age, but he's been racing some trucks too. He did a little bit of trucks.
Yep.
The trucks this year mostly, so he's got a lot of seat time this year. This is his 29th race in NASCAR this year. Well, no, he's got 2 Cup starts too, so he's raced a lot this year.
Yeah, so he's been the guy. He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be the talk of the series next year for sure.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. We're looking forward to it and see if he can do it.
Him and Ty Gibbs battling out for the championship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep.
Anything else with Las Vegas? Can we put that sucker in the rearview mirror finally?
Put her to bed. Yes, sir.
Go to Talladega this weekend and enjoy that.
Yes.
Then the Roval, and then we get to go back to crappy tracks.
We're so optimistic on this episode.
Right. A couple news. There's nothing in the news. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel for the news.
We'll do our best. Bear with us.
Yeah,
we'll make it quick.
Rodney Childers suspended for Talladega due to lug nuts missing on Harvick's car. So Zippy will be back on the box. Crew chiefing for Harvick at Talladega.
I love Zippy, as you know.
Yes, of course. Speaking of lug nuts, I was curious with Josh Berry because I could have sworn when they dropped the jack on his last pit stop there in that Xfinity race that they were still putting lugs on that car. I can't believe they weren't short lug nuts. And I thought for sure he's coming in for a loose wheel because you kind of saw it looked like the rear tire changer was just hitting the lugs because Berry didn't wait for the jack to drop. He took off.
Nope. Yeah, apparently we're clear. So it worked.
Yeah.
Didn't work so well for Kevin Harvick though.
Right. This is how desperate we are for news this week, but it's a cool story anyway.
Anytime Zippy gets back on the box, I mean that's I mean,
I was talking about the next one, but
well, no, that next one's a better one. But just to put a bow on Harvick, Eric, he's a playoff contender without his crew chief, and that is a story. Whether
it is, but it's Talladega for one,
right?
So how much strategy do you really have from the pit box?
Not much,
and not to mention when these guys get suspended. All they do is they sit somewhere and communicate through instant message anyway. It's not like he's not still calling the shots.
Rodney said he's going to hang out with his boys. It's their birthday.
BS. So. No way.
No.
Go hang out with Smoke, who's also not paying attention to the NASCAR series.
Smoke's busy drag racing right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, drag racing. He's busy something.
He's all over the damn place.
He's busy chasing something. Kurt Busch is bringing us some pink window nets this week, James, or 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks at the Roval. Yes, the Window of Hope. Yep.
Yes. Cool program. I believe the colored window nets is a thing that's allowed next season with the new rules. I believe that was something that they discussed, but initiative for breast cancer awareness, Window of Hope. He got a letter from a boy named Mason asking him to support his mom in her breast cancer fight. As a result, each Cup driver's window net will be pink at the Roval race October 10th. They will autograph them, and I believe they will be auctioned off, correct?
And it's gonna look awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's, we've had pink on the cars before, pink numbers and stuff, but you look at Kurt Busch's car, which is flat black, and that pink just pops. And I know for a good cause, I think this is a really cool initiative that they're gonna do. It's gonna look great.
How distracting do you think that is for a driver who has had black to the left of his vision for his entire career?
I don't know if they're going to notice. Honestly.
Yeah, I bet you it could be distracting.
It might be.
Especially at a road course, you got to look more through that window than any other place.
Unless you keep the pink on just the outside. I don't know how they'll do it. I'm not sure how they'll do it.
It doesn't matter. These guys don't.
They're professionals. They'll be fine.
I am looking forward to the possibility of having some colored window nets next year, though. That'd be kind of cool. Nice way to break the cars up again.
Bring the paint schemes right into there. That's pretty cool.
But anytime we do these type of initiatives, it's a cool deal. So I applaud Kurt Busch for bringing it to the series. I applaud everybody for being involved with it, and just
it's
good
cool.
program all around. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Just because we didn't scrape the bottom of the barrel enough, Justin Allgaier is driving for Spire Motorsports at Talladega this weekend.
There you go.
There it is. There's your news, guys.
Eric, I think I figured out what news item
What was it?
Where you couldn't find. Earlier in the week, Ford and Toyota debuted.
Yes, you're right. That is what it is.
Yes, I got it.
Yes.
They look good.
Yeah,
Both
they do.
trucks look good.
I don't know.
Toyota one,
that Toyota one looks a little ridiculous with a giant Toyota on the front.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing now. That's the new thing.
Know.
It can't look any worse than Chevrolet strapped across the front of trucks.
That's true.
I can't stand those trucks.
Yeah.
But the Ford looks good. The Ford F-150 looks badass.
Yeah, they're cool looking trucks.
There you go. I figured it out.
Thanks,
yes.
James. Thanks. It won't drive me crazy all night now.
KFB was doing burnouts in his new Toyota truck on the front stretch.
Yep. Yeah, he was. All right. Well, James, you didn't change the picks. It's Talladega, man.
Oh, geez.
Talladega.
I got the race names right.
You got the race names right. I'll give you that.
For this one, I gotta give it a capital there.
Yeah. We go to Talladega this weekend, and thanks to the pandemic changing things up last year, we once again have a triple header weekend at Talladega for the fall, which we didn't have in the past. Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series. I'm a little tossed in whether I'm disappointed or excited by the fact that I won't be able to watch the Cup race live, James, because Saginaw Spirit Hockey's back in action on Sunday with preseason, so I will be there covering the Spirit game.
I'll give away my shout out right now. Derek Winters got tickets.
Yeah,
I tried.
Yeah, I know. This is on the bucket list. There'll be a Talladega race in my future at some point.
Yes.
But it's getting there. That's the problem. It's not the race ticket. So we got press credentials, man. We can get in there anyway. It don't cost us nothing to get in. It's getting there.
Right.
But yeah, Truck Series kicked things off with the Chevy Silverado 250. James, I managed to beat you this week on the picks.
By 8 points.
Yeah, 8 points is 8 points, man.
8 points is 8 points. You need them going into Talladega.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take a swing in this truck race. So you were kind enough to me to put your picks on the spreadsheet already. You get to pick first, so I'll give you a chance to see if you'll change your picks or you're sticking with what you got.
I'm gonna stick with this one.
Okay.
And I may regret it. Ben Rhodes.
What? Now, why are you going with Ben Rhodes for the truck race?
Oh, he's good at the big tracks.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
All right.
That's it. He's good at the big tracks.
This race is such a crapshoot because
I know. I don't know what to do with the trucks. Honestly,
if you look at the statistics for the truck series, I mean, everybody wrecks. The people that win these races, the people that have wins at Talladega, are backmarker guys that happen to not wreck.
Yeah.
It's crazy the way it works.
I could have picked, if he may be on the entry list, but Parker Kligerman would have been a fine pick.
Parker Kligerman actually probably is a really good pick because
he's won here before. So.
He'll probably get through the mess and at least get a top 10 finish.
Yeah, so if you look at the entry list, I bet he might be on there. That's one thing I didn't do was look at the entry list. But
well, I am going to use that strategy of the guys you expect to win never win this race. The guys who you don't expect to win are the ones who get it done. So I'm going to go with a long shot. I'm going to go with a first-time winner in the truck series, and I'm going to go with the bulldozer because he's going to push everybody out of his way and get the win. I am going with Derek Kraus as my pick for this race.
That's the first time Derek Kraus has been picked all season.
Come on, man. If he doesn't get wrecked, he's going to wreck everybody else, and he'll be there.
Incredible. Good.
This is what happens when you got an 80-point lead or whatever I've got. I can take a swing like this one.
This is the last chance probably to take a big swing because it's gonna get interesting.
I'm not swinging that hard for the next two races, so
no.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say go ahead. I already told you who my pick is, but go.
Sparks 300 for the Xfinity Series. James is going the easy route on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Justin Haley. Yeah, and part of that is a troll job to Eric for all the time spent saying he's not that good.
Yeah,
sorry, man. I can't.
Yeah, I'm over that. He's not that good anymore. And on the same note, I'm gonna pick Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson next week at the Roval because one of them is gonna win the race, despite the fact that neither of them should, based on statistics, because they've won so many. But one of them will. But anyway. So whoever you don't pick of those two, James, I'm taking next week, just so you know.
Sounds good.
Unless you get ahead of me, in which case I get the first pick.
Yeah, Justin, I mean, he's due to probably crash. So yeah. I'm sorry if I cursed him. I'm sorry.
I really, really like Noah Gragson for this race. I don't know why. I do. He's good. I mean, he doesn't have a win here, but he has the second highest average finish here, 6.8. He has one at Daytona. But I'm just going to, you can't, how do you bet against Colleague? So I'm going to pick his teammate. I'm going to go with AJ Allmendinger for this one.
Oh, I thought you were going to take Noah.
Nope.
Yeah, you got to stay Colleague after what they did at Daytona.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't? You can't take AJ Allmendinger.
I can't?
No, you took him this last week.
All right. Well, then I'll take Jeb Burton then.
There you go.
Still stick with the.
Good thing I'm looking at the spreadsheet.
Good thing. Otherwise, we'd have had to call an audible. We'd had to have a. I looked at the trucks too to make sure I didn't in the Cup Series. Make sure I didn't pick the wrong person. Then. Yep. So all right, Yellowwood 500 on Sunday with the Cup Series. I really wish I wouldn't have picked Ryan Blaney last week because he would be my pick for this one.
I know, you kind of got boxed out there.
But I can't pick him. James, who are you going with this one? I know who you're going with.
Yeah, so part of the reason is I don't know what to do with Denny Hamlin, or I would have probably taken him.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with the guy who needs points and who's gonna try to race for stage wins.
And he's got 6 wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Talladega goat, Brad Keselowski, and see if I can't maximize some Cup points here. Even if he gets involved in a wreck, I'm hoping that I can at least get somewhere near 20 points before stage 3. So that's my plan here.
There you go.
Definitely took a look at Blaney though, and Logano. It's hard to go against Ford horsepower. The way that they're running these tracks right now, the Fords are really strong. So whichever way you go.
And the Fords generally have some strategy going with these races too.
Very, very true. Yes.
Especially Penske. So I kind of feel like I got to stick with Penske as well. Can't take Blaney because I picked him last week. Can't take Keselowski because you picked him. You did steal TJ Majors from me, but I'm going to go with Joey Logano as my pick for this one.
Joey Logano. When's the last time either of us picked Joey Logano? Let me see.
I know I've picked him this season.
You have, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, it was back at the beginning of the season.
Joey. Whew, yeah, we haven't picked Joey very much at all this year.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
I picked him way back. Oh, my God. The last time he was picked was Kansas 1. I picked him Kansas 1. That's a long time ago. And Brad, neither of us have picked Brad except for you. You picked Brad way back. That's why I love having the spreadsheet. It's so nice. Brad's last time he was picked by us, you picked him at Talladega 1. So, and I had Ryan Blaney, and you definitely got more points than me that day. But just a handful. But you had Justin Haley that day too, so I kind of stole your picks a little bit.
Yeah, see how you are.
I see. Yeah,
sure. See, you're not even original. You're picking your own stuff.
Yeah, piggybacking.
Ridiculous. Actually, that's right. Now that I'm looking at the spreadsheet, I remember I picked AJ Allmendinger last week because I want him for the Roval. So. There we go.
Unless I'm still behind you, and then I'll just snatch him up.
That's all right. You'll still be behind me, so I'm not worried. We'll see what Derek Kraus does to me this week. Yeah. Fantasy League, James. I know that was frustrating.
Oh my God! Yeah, the Hendrick Motorsports contingent really messed me up.
Better than me.
I was having a great day. I was loving life. I was way ahead of the entire field, and I ended up finishing 11th. So the win goes to Bird 8U. Team Draftona, who has snuck into 3rd place overall, gets a big 2nd place finish, and then Rusty W number 2 finishes 3rd. Ranger, our points leader, was 4th. I was hoping I could make some ground up on him there. Quick playoff just for what and giggles. Team Draftona, Bird 8U, Justin 713. That's since the playoffs have started. Then overall standings, Ranger, he pulled out a little bit further ahead. 5,725. I am 2nd, 5,570, and Team Draftona is 2 points behind me. So he is coming on like a freight train who he passed.
Nice.
So,
nice
synergy there. So there you go. Congratulations to Team Draftona. That's awesome.
So a few months ago, back at the beginning of summer, we bought a house. And we have this nice little room that closes off. That's kind of my podcast studio / office. Big house, pretty decent sized house, lots of room in it. And of course, during my podcast, my children are playing right outside of the window with the dog, with the noisiest toy the dog owns. So sorry if it's bleeding over into the microphone. I do apologize.
I heard Mac there for a little bit. Yeah, that's all right.
There's some crinkling going on from we got him a giant, it's like a giant stuffed toy that looks like a lifesavers wrapper.
Yes.
And it's like 3 times the length of him, but he loves it. He thinks it's the greatest thing in the world.
That's awesome.
Shout outs, James. Did you come up with one?
Yeah, I kind of gave it away earlier, but Derek's going to Talladega, so I hope he has a great time. I know he's been there a handful of times and makes me jealous
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
But I saw if you follow him on Facebook or if you follow us on Twitter, I'm sure he's looking for somebody to buy tickets. So I think he's got two.
There you go.
So if anybody wants to go, there you go. Reach out. One of us will put you in contact with.
What better way to sell your tickets than to broadcast it out to threes of people that listen to this podcast?
He's probably the one listening.
Right. Yeah. It's like, man, I really got tickets available. I am pulling out here too. We've shouted these guys out enough. I think the Athletic should pay us for sending people to their podcast or their coverage. But got a chance to listen to some of Jeff Gluck's 12 questions today. Listen to the Kyle Larson one. I think was the most interesting one for me. If you don't listen to Jeff's podcast, the Teardown's a great podcast. They do a great job right after the race. Probably the first podcast you can hear after the race. But
Yes,
Jeff's 12 questions are just spectacular. It's worth subscribing to The Athletic to read them. But you can actually get them through your podcast platform for free if you want to check them out. I think they come out a little bit later on there than they do on The Athletic. But great questions this year for the drivers. It's always interesting to hear what the different ones say, and it's fun. I just put them on a playlist and just click through and listen to like 3 or 4 of them at the same time. Listen to the Michael Waltrip one today. That one was pretty good too.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
I figured Mikey be entertaining. As obnoxious as Mikey can be, sometimes he can also be pretty entertaining. So
yes.
Yep. Jackass Corner, James. Do you got a Jackass Corner this week?
All of Hendrick Motorsports.
There you go.
That's it.
My Jackass Corner, I don't know who I should target with this one. I'm going to lean towards YouTube TV. It's either YouTube TV or NBC, but whoever is responsible for this cluster of a dispute they've got going right now that may cost YouTube TV, NBC beginning October 1st, which means, of course, before Talladega. And that is my source for watching the race this weekend is YouTube TV. Get your crap together, guys. I'm tired of these freaking disputes. YouTube TV just had one recently with Bally Sports and lost, and Bally Sports is no longer on YouTube TV. The only thing keeping me there is NASCAR right now. So if we lose NASCAR, YouTube TV will be bye-bye. So yeah, and maybe it's NBC's fault, maybe it's YouTube TV's fault, but YouTube TV is the ones who are going to suffer for it. So
yeah, it's usually the big providers that are the ones behind this one. But
this stuff
honestly,
sucks. I mean, YouTube TV has been great.
They're both evil.
I've talked a lot of great things about YouTube TV on this podcast. I'm a big fan of it, but the prices have gone up to where they're past what cable costs. The only benefit they have is being able to stream everywhere and a great DVR. But if I can't DVR the shows because the channel's not available on there, there's no reason to have them. So right. Hopefully they get their crap figured out before the first, and otherwise it's looking like Hulu will be my my destination for.
Hulu has live sports.
Hulu has NBC and NBC Sports in my area, so I will be good to go with Hulu from my understanding. And they have the DVR, so I doubt it's as good as YouTube TV's, but YouTube TV isn't any good if you can't get the channel.
I've always had good experiences with Hulu.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me know how that goes for you.
Will do. It's not any cheaper, but.
That's right.
At least I can watch the race. If NBC would just get their crap together and put the NASCAR races on Peacock, I could just pay for my Peacock subscription and watch the races on there. So NBC, get your crap together.
It's coming.
If YouTube TV drops them, they should be smart and put the race on Peacock this weekend, because I would subscribe to Peacock to get that race. They probably can't. Yeah. I'm sure it has to do with the deal.
Probably not.
I was subscribed to Peacock. I dropped my subscription until the Supercross season starts. So, but I'd go back.
You will find out here in a couple more days.
Yeah, happens. Right? Well, YouTube TV is going to be nice enough to drop their price by $10 if they lose NBC. So, whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo,
yeah. On that note, James, where can people find you on social media if they want to chat?
At James Cush on Twitter.
If you want to bitch to me about YouTube TV or NBC, you can do so at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, show notes, links to articles we discussed, past race coverage, all that jazz is on there. You can find the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Wherever you found it today, we hope you subscribe and continue to listen. It is possibly, there's a few best weekends of the year in the NASCAR season, and this is certainly one of them. It is the playoff weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race weekend is a 4-day race weekend. The only thing better than a 4-day race week super speedway race is a super speedway race with extra added pressure. So we put it all in the pressure cooker this week. We go to Talladega Super Speedway, battle it out, 3 races all weekend long, all 3 series, and we'll be back next week to discuss it, break it all down, discuss who gets airborne, who flips through the air, who gets the photo finish, all that fun stuff, right? That's what we look for at Talladega.
Keep all 4 wheels on the ground.
Yeah, let's keep all 4 wheels on the ground. Let's have some fun and don't hurt anybody. It's always a little nerve-wracking as well, but we'll be back next week to break it all down, everybody. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.